Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me on this sort of a roundup between the two of us where we're going to compare my most recent two HRV results and obviously talk about implementation of goals and looking at things I want to achieve and improve on as per a previous score and the latest one. And then obviously you're going to join us and talk about your most recent HRV report as well. But I think it's worth noting that we just want to clarify that we each give support for our end clients and users about their own HRV reports as well. So it'd be really interesting to see what input you have in terms of mine and vice versa.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'll just introduce myself quickly. So I am Katie in CSM at Firstbeat UK. So really my role is to help our clients and partners succeed as well as they can in offering their product to their clients, and also involved in lots of large projects on the corporate side as well. So yeah, the main thing for me really is I've been wanting to work on my fitness and just overall health and well-being in terms of upping my sleep, trying to get my recovery up there, and also just my underlying HRV points as well. So it'd be interesting to walk through everything with you.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm just going to share my screen now and I'll grab our results, but we'll start with mine first. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Cool. So what's probably worth noting is the first instance, my previous lifestyle assessment score, 62 out of 100, was actually taken back in December of 2020. This was over a period of 3 days where unfortunately the lead up to this, I was actually unwell. So my whole body resource level was quite low. I wasn't feeling particularly active at the time, as you can imagine, but a week later, I decided to do a 3-day measurement, and unfortunately, my score was impacted because of the disruption to sleep and obviously quality of exercise, etc. And then the most recent one in 2021 was in February, which is 91 out of 100, which is typically what I tend to see with my HRV reports.
Yeah.
But because of obviously the difference there, I actually set on a particular, a timetable of goals and changed a little bit of my routine to actually improve the score overall. So if I go on to my next slide, this hopefully will give a really good demonstration of really how sleep was impacted during that period versus the top one, 2021. Yeah. In terms of one of the main thing for myself that I wanted to focus on was changing the time that I trained. Rather than doing a really hard hit exercise session and maximizing on training effect score, I wanted to push that to early parts of the day because I am aware that it will affect recovery at nighttime if I train too hard close to bedtime. Again, worth noting the 18 sort of 6 p.m. mark on 2021 in February was actually quite a power walk, so it wasn't too strenuous. But early morning, I managed to do a hit session and get some exercise as well. So I think that's helped me maximize on recovery during nighttime.
Yeah, that's really interesting because that in the 2020 graph, the time that you work out and the intensity pretty much looks like what I do. That looks exactly how and when I train. And seeing the height of the stress bars after your workout and then it impacting your sleep early on is making me think I need to rethink my workout times now.
Definitely.
So that's interesting.
Definitely. I think again, just because I was very aware of obviously we're all afraid of the mantra of train hard, work hard. But in terms of this instance, it's train hard and recover hard, and I want to try and maximise on the amount of daytime recovery post exercise, which I think I've achieved, which has helped me improve that overall Firstbeat Life score, which was really good. I have provided a view of my exercise between both the original December and then also the February marker as well, where sadly you can see it's a poor 20 out of 100, which is effectively that score is telling us about my gender and age group. That's the score selection overall. So we are categorized in that way when we look at Firstbeat Life, but then the excellent score, I did try and maximize as much as I possibly could out of those training sessions and those days to try and get as much movement and mobility in as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And what exercise sessions did you do on the Wednesday and Thursday in January? Do you remember?
Yeah, one of the Wednesday, I actually do just about 4 miles of walking every single day. I actually managed to get walking in on both days, but on the Wednesday I also did a HIIT session. So circuit training, which is something that I'm sort of conditioned to physically, but I obviously managed to maintain a really good steady heart rate. I managed to recover really well. So I was quite pleased with that. And obviously at the bottom, you can just see the 2 hour and 10 minutes of sort of vigorous, moderate and light, which obviously I maximised as much as possible on the light to moderate with that walk.
Yeah, yeah. You can see, you know, the difference. I mean, 1 hour 4 of physical activity on the first measurement, but you know, you weren't probably getting your heart rate up enough, you know, nowhere near enough to get, you know, health benefits. And then and then you jumped up massively for the second assessment. So and that's moderate 57 minutes and vigorous 17 minutes. So that's all impacted you really well.
It has, and I'm pleased to say that something that which for me has been a really nice lifestyle shift, just looking at the times I'm training, but obviously we know, as we saw before, the impact on sleep overall is making me feel a lot more alert and a lot more, I think, sort of ready for the day, the following day. It's not actually impacting on anything too much, which is really good. So I'm pleased that I was able to make that shift. And just lastly, again, just to obviously sort of zero in on that point, is the sleep score for those sessions, those 2 separate score days. Although the first measurement on the left-hand side of the screen, 76 of 100, is actually higher, the overall impact for me was obviously the 63 over 100 on the lifestyle score. So we can see that on Sunday there was a huge detriment to the impact of sleep, which gave me moderate rather than the previous sort of January, February sessions.
Definitely. And if you go back to your actual graphs, so just so we can see, you know, the type of responses you're getting at sleep. So yeah, the 2020 graph at night, you know, your heart rate's not come down at all really in terms of when your head hits the pillow. And then it's very intermittent in terms of intensity. And then you get, you know, a full block around the 4 a.m. mark where you're really in deep sleep. But it's just a massive difference compared to the 2021 graph, where it's just a steady rise, you know, green as soon as you went to sleep, and you can see the decline in your heart rate ready to go to bed, and that's obviously due to not such an intense workout later on in the day.
Which overall, which we should mention, the Firstbeat Life app will actually show you these trends on a separate column bar, where you can see the impact and improvement of sleep quality over a time period. Because you get an unlimited amount of assessments you can do, you'll see these peak and trough throughout, but I've seen a steady increase on the quality of sleep that I've had as per the changes in what I've done recently. So I'm hoping to see that those continue to improve, but it's always great to have that highlight and this information to hand.
Exactly. Yeah. Just to do you know, monitoring just every few months, just to, if there are any things that you want to improve on for yourself, and just note really, and just know how you respond to certain stresses and you know, sleep and recovery and exercise.
Yeah, I think that's it personally for me. It's understanding, you know, what it is and how I respond to certain things, because obviously these happen on a physiological level. We're not always aware of them, but this is giving me insights that I never really realized. And I was always, as I said, the mantra of, you know, go hard, work hard in the gym, and really to the detriment. I was robbing sleep time. So obviously I wasn't recovering, then I'm at risk of injury. So for me, it's been really helpful on a personal note, which is really good. But great, thank you. I'm ready to move on to yours.
Yes, let's have a look. So yeah, I've done a few measurements now. I think the first one was November, and I think that was around 70 out of 100. And then I've just done a few ad hoc measurements, 1-day measurements and 3-day, and this one was actually a 3-day one. So yeah, I got a score of 89 out of 100. Quite different graphs on all 3 days. I did one exercise session on, I think, the Tuesday. I drank some alcohol, I think also on the Tuesday, which may have impacted my sleep a little bit. That might quite a full-on day, that one. And then Monday and Wednesday were quite relaxed, just working and then chilling out in the evening. So if you go on to the first Monday, So yeah, I mean, I'm quite surprised at my stress reactions in the morning. I think that's around 9 or 10 in the morning. So I can't quite remember if I had a meeting or anything. But yeah, my heart rate seems to have jumped up quite high. But then pretty low levels throughout the day, you know, just pottering about. We've actually moved into a new house which has a lot of stairs. So anytime I need to grab something from upstairs or go into a room for, you know, a meeting. It's about 4 stories. So that's why I have quite a bit of blue when I walk up there, because, you know, I think I'm fit, but, you know, it takes quite a lot to get up 4 stories every time. Yeah, quite a bit of recovery towards the end of the day, and then really just chilling out and cooking and making dinner. And also I wanted to put in here, Would I Lie to You? I'm not sure if you've seen that program. It's the comment, and I was literally laughing my head off, so I wanted to see my reaction to that program, but it doesn't really show up much there.
It's really good. I was going to ask you, because obviously Monday mornings for everyone, there can be that kind of anticipatory anxiety and activation, thinking about the day and the week ahead. I wonder if we consistently looked at Mondays, whether that would be a trend that we could spot.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what my Tuesday and Wednesday mornings look like, actually, because like you said, it could just be a Monday thing, and just anticipating the week and what's coming up. And my sleep score is it's pretty good. Not much red throughout, no more like intermittent stresses. I do remember waking up, I think you can see a tiny bit there before, but other than that, I think I reported it quite a good sleep.
It looks like it. I mean, in terms of the duration, it's excellent. Everyone should really try to maximize the sort of 7:30 plus hours for sleep. But obviously the amount of recovery you've gotten as well is really good. In terms of previous scores and stuff, obviously I'm privy of, because of the conversations we've had, but it's a cracking sleep.
Yeah, I am one of those people that need, I personally think, 8.5 to 9.5 hours sleep just to feel really refreshed the next day. Because I've noticed any time if I've gone to bed at maybe 11 and woken up at 6 or 7, it's just I feel quite groggy for the whole day. So I find it really important to get 8+ hours sleep.
Good amount of sleep. Cool. So you want me to move on?
Yes, let's go on to Tuesday. So this, again, quite an up and down graph. This one's quite interesting. I obviously got some exercise in here, which I started about 5 o'clock, because I would try to, shift it slightly earlier than when I would usually do an exercise session, which is, I think, around 7ish. So I tried to bring it a couple of hours earlier to see if that helps my sleep. As you can see, I've got quite a long sleep there, 9.5 hours. I think it really knocked it out of me. That was a HIIT session, just to mention. And you can see that even when I say I'm relaxing from 7 to 11, still my heart rate is elevated.
Yeah. Do you know what training effect score you got during the HIIT session? Are you aware? Do you remember?
I think it was about a 4 out of 5.
The intensity was quite high then.
Yeah, it was quite high, and then you can see just in the middle of the 2 darker blue blocks that I kind of had a bit of a time out and just did a little 20-minute ab session. So and then I kicked back into a leg session. So that's why there's that little dip there, and it wasn't like the continuous block of vigorous exercise. I think I had a few meetings that day, just looking at the earlier timings around 10 and 11, and then again at 2. So you can see my heart rate's kind of elevated there. And then, I think my sleep has been affected by quite a stressful day, and then stress on the body in terms of physical exercise as well. So it definitely doesn't look like the previous day where the intensity was much higher.
Much higher on the sleep quality, absolutely. But a good thing to note as well is with yourself, you've got some really good moments of daytime recovery going on. And again, because you had such a well-rested Monday in terms of sleep quality there, it's actually made a positive impact in daytime recovery too.
Exactly.
Which has, daytime recovery will promote overall sort of resilience and quality of sleep. So that's really good to note and pick up, because I don't think I had that in mind. I'm not quite sure.
The daytime recovery.
Yeah, there wasn't many notable moments.
It is quite, some people really struggle to get daytime recovery actually. Even when they think, you're doing a relaxing task or just, some admin on your laptop. But sometimes you just, your heart rate just doesn't decrease enough to get you into that state. Cool. Should we move on to Wednesday? Okay. Yeah, so
in a meeting, I love this.
This so again, it's a lot of high stressful bars, but then in the meeting I'm in recovery. I need to remember what meeting that was, but I can't quite remember. That was our CSM meeting actually. So Felix, Maria and Nina. I'm relaxed in our meetings. That's good to
know.
Yeah, definitely. And then my sleep, it's annoying. I should have reported that I slept slightly earlier than I did, because it would have been actually probably 8. Is that 8 hours? It would have been actually 9 hours in the graph. So yeah, that was an excellent sleep, and probably from having quite a few meetings and then a knock on from the previous day, which was quite stressful physically and mentally. That I remember being very tired yesterday, and that's why I wanted to get an earlier night, and that really shows in this graph.
It's really good. It's nice as well. You can see the steady decline in terms of activation, and as identified by the stress red bars. They're on the decline, where you've slipped straight into a relaxed mode just before bedtime as well. So in terms of sleep hygiene, as we coin or refer to it, that's actually a really good example on a graph, as we can see.
Yeah, you can see that, can't you? So, I've done a few chores just after work, then, really just relaxed and doing a bit of cooking, having dinner. And then the red slowly switches into green. And I think that's when I was either reading up in the room or watching some YouTube videos just on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I was just so tired, I just had to go to sleep. So, that's probably, my best sleep score, I would say, out of 3 days.
Do you have, as per looking at the overall graphs, etc., do you have any sort of takeaways or any particular goals or areas you want to focus on moving forward from a personal point of view?
Yeah, so I think my sleep, in terms of, getting recovery before sleep and really winding down, I think I know what the things I should do to impact me positively there. I think what things I would like to work on is, as much as I love my HIIT sessions and my short bursts of activity, I would love to up my kind of endurance. So running, for example. Yeah. But living where we live now, we live on quite a main road. So for me to want to, run in a lovely area and run nice roads, for example, or a park, I have to drive somewhere. So I need to, get in my car and drive somewhere where I think would be a bit nicer to run around. But so that's one of the things that's stopping me from doing that, which is something I need to just, take the hit and just be motivated and get my
try it. Yeah.
So that's one of the main things to take away. And I guess, there was quite a few high stressful moments at work. So I guess just trying to remain a bit calmer, and just identifying what those situations were and how I can work on them, and maybe planning for the week ahead. So maybe that Monday morning is not so stressful. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I think for me, I'm going to try and do a consistent week by week HRV measurement with Life, just to see again the shift, because I do a lot of power based exercises, HIIT like yourself, which I've shifted to the morning, but I want to see now if I introduce more of an endurance aspect as well, because if anyone's noticed, I'm doing obviously cold water, open water swims, just to see again the effect on that. But for me, I want to try and utilize and maximize any daytime recovery, because I don't get an awful lot, I'm aware. So if I can take a step back and 30 minutes just away from the the kitchen office, and build in sort of 30-minute break to go and eat away from the desk, hopefully that will help me sort of relax and switch off, even just for that short period of time, will have a big impact overall, I think.
Yeah, I think when you're working from home, you feel almost guilty when you step away from your computer to, you know, have an hour lunch break or go for a walk outside, you think, you know, I should be working. You know, when you're not in the office, it's more that guilt. So it's important to definitely still take the time and those breaks when you're at home, because it does really impact you, as you can see.
Yeah, well, that I'm sure is probably up for another topic, because pandemic fatigue, as it's now being called, you know, we are sort of on almost 24 hours a day because we're at home. It's easily accessible. We take our phones even when we go for a walk, for a daylight break. It was still always on. So again, maybe that's another series of reports that we can look at to see if there is any impact.
I was guilty of that last night. I had an email from a client at 7 p.m. and the title said urgent. So I was just like, oh, I just had to reply to it. I mean, it could have waited till this morning, but you just, you know, when you're just relaxing, you're like, why not just reply? But
exactly.
Need to be a bit stricter, but we'll save that for another
for another day. Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. I think that was really, it was helpful for me, obviously, just to get a second pair of eyes on my own report. Again, just highlights the benefit of having that additional coaching as well. Although the app is really good, it's going to give me intuitive insight. It's always great to have someone who's qualified and has really got obviously all that experience in dealing with these things. So it's really helpful for me. But maybe next time we can highlight some additional stuff. And if you work on a Monday morning sort of de-stress situation, then I'll look at trying to improve my overall sort of daytime recovery and stamina as well for endurance.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to revisit in maybe a month or two's time and see where we can improve on. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, and I will hopefully catch up with you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jenna.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.